How's it going, everyone? Dylan and I are back for a very anticipated episode of the podcast. We're going to be going through our playoff brackets for the playoffs, the NFL playoffs starting Sunday. Now, obviously, we're both going to have the Patriots as Super Bowl champions. Clearly, there's no team that stands a chance. It's not the Patriots. So, spoiler. Just kidding. I have a sneaking suspicion our brackets are going to look vastly different. I'm sure there's going to be a couple games that we agree on, but last year I think we both had the Ravens in the Super Bowl. I think our NFC brackets were a bit different, but I think actually last year our brackets were like fairly similar. But this year, I think they're going to be a bit different. So how it's going to work is I have a blank bracket on the ESPN Pick'em site here. I made my bracket video the other day. It's the same template I used. I just created a fresh bracket. So Dylan's going to go through his playoff bracket, and then we'll pause, talk about it after he finishes, and then we'll do the same thing for me. So, Dylan, feel free to take it away. The floor is all yours.
Alrighty, so I think we can get this started. I'll start out in the NFC. Just to start it off in the NFC here. Of course, the Seahawks get the first round bye there. And then I'm going to jump into this Panthers and Rams game. So we saw earlier in the year, actually, the Panthers win this game in a one of the best games of the year, honestly, if you want to put it up there. Panthers won this game last time. I think the Rams come in as like a crazy minus 10 and a half point favorites. Um, and I think you're going to see a lot of people kind of take that plus 10 and a half.
Mhm.
I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to have the Rams kind of winning by 14. I think the Rams can put I think if you went into this playoff prediction and you didn't know that three NFC West teams were in contention to make this Super Bowl run, I'm going to go with the Rams here. I have the Rams by 14 in this game. I think Stafford is just going to come out swinging. I think the Panthers are a little too, I wouldn't say inexperienced is the right word, but I think that this Rams defense is going to grind out those mistakes that they made against. There was a lot of like one play hitters, that one play to Tet all the way for like 60 yards. He had like one catch for 60 yards and a touchdown in that game. I think they're going to try to minimize those big plays. That gives the Panthers a like little boost. So I'm going to take the Rams here. I'm decently confident in that. I saw they were like minus like something stupid like 650 or something insane. I don't think the odds should be that wide. I would put probably Rams at like minus 6.5. But I'm gonna go with the Rams here. I think that's a pretty easier thing
Yeah,
here.
yeah, that's probably the most unanimous one. I've watched like a good amount of videos and seen, clips and articles of people with brackets. I don't think I've seen a single person picking the Panthers so far.
Which is crazy if you think about how crazy that is. Like the Panthers won this game already. Like they already beat the Rams. So the fact that we have that a team that already won in the regular season, everybody's picking against them in the
Yeah,
second time they verse each other. That's pretty interesting. So I'm gonna take the Rams here. This next game, the Eagles and the Niners. I've gone back and forth because like I think we could really look at this and say, okay, like what are the Eagles gonna look like? Like what is the Eagles game plan going into this game? Listen, I have been the biggest Eagles hater, and I'm gonna take him here. I think the Eagles, which a lot of people are gonna, say, "Oh, I think the Niners can win this game." I think that there's something here with the Eagles. I know the dynamic of Philly right now is on that offensive coordinator. Some people are even blaming Jalen Hurts. There's a lot of drama in Philly right now. I understand that. But the thing about the Eagles is they are still the Eagles. They still have a really good team. They have the home court advantage. You have a team home court. Jeez, basketball season is harder to taking swing here for me. But the Eagles
the
have the
Hornets
home
game
field
the other
advantage in
day.
here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Eagles have home field advantage here. The Niners are coming all the way across the country to face the Eagles. However, I just think the Eagles are a little bit more of a complete team. This defense is still one of the best in the league. I could see them giving some problem to Brock Purdy. I wouldn't be surprised if we see an Eagles touchdown here. For the Eagles game, I'll throw out score predictions too while I'm at it. I'll go Eagles 27 and the Niners 23. So I'm gonna do a little swing right there. I think I like the Eagles at home in this situation. I know a lot of people are picking the Niners as an upset. I'm not one of those guys, but I'm gonna take the Eagles here. For the Rams game, actually, for my score prediction for that game, I'm gonna go 28-14. I think the defense kind of wakes up. I think the Rams kind of take it by 14 there. Now, this, in my opinion, is the game of the week. I don't care. This is old school NFC North, just brutal physical football here. You're you're talking about a game right now in Chicago in the cold. Like a little throwback to like that old school football mentality that we have here. Two teams that absolutely hate each other, the beef between the head coaches. I mean, this is exactly what you want to see in the first round of the playoffs here. Um, wow, like this is one of the hardest games. I think that if you went either way, there's a case for both teams. Now, I have been the biggest Bears fan. I think I don't think there's been somebody from the start of the year like me who has been higher on the Bears than me this year. Um, and what I'm gonna do right here is I'm gonna take the Packers. I think the Packers can really come into Chicago with a chip on their shoulder. I think they can really make a statement here um, they almost won that second game. Like let's be for real. They almost won that second game. They almost sweep the Bears. I think they match up pretty well with the Bears. I think that they could go into Chicago and handle business there. I think it's going to be a brutal fight. If you said, you know what, the Bears are going to beat the Packers, I wouldn't be upset with you. I would completely understand. Um, so I'm going to take the Packers here. I would like to see the Packers kind of, make a little statement win here. And then after that, they're going to go on the road into Seattle. So that's funny how the bracket kind of like changes. I know you might have a different kind of bracket, but that's pretty much where I'm looking. So I'm gonna go to the AFC here. Of course, the Broncos have that first round bye. Um, and what I'm gonna do here, this is one of the hardest. This is another hard game. Steelers, if you kind of look at it, and the Texans are two, like, like, do they contend for a Super Bowl? Probably not. However, I don't know if you consider this an upset, but I'm going to take the Steelers here. I think the Steelers can actually pull out a little bit of a sneaky win here. I think they match up decently okay with the Texans. And getting DK Metcalf back is a nice little boost for them. I think their offense kind of clicked in that second half last week against the Ravens. And even though that Luke missed that field goal, it just shows like the hard fighting grit of the Steelers here. I think Tomlin gets over the hump, and I think we're gonna have another debate about him reaching the second round and what's going on with that, with the Tomlin thing here. I think they get over the hump here, and I think they take down the Texans. The next one, Jaguars Bills. This is another like weird game. When you look at this, I think a lot of people are looking at this game and saying Bills right away. I don't see it. I'm taking the Jags. Liam Cohen in his first year here, I think he's provided this entire Duval County with an absolute freaking spark. I mean, this team in Jacksonville, they have some life to them. Like they're Duval County is going nuts now. I am very excited for the Jags. They get a home playoff game against Buffalo. They're not playing in Buffalo. They're playing in a nice temperature game here in Jacksonville. So they don't have to worry about the weather. They're, in my opinion, I don't know. I just think they have the better weapons. They have the better offense. They have the better I wouldn't say better coaching, but like you just don't know. Like Liam Cohen has just elevated this entire team. The team's buying in. defense has been playing relatively well. Give me the Jags here. I think they could match up really well with the Bills. And at first, I was going to pick the Bills, but then you really dive deeper into the matchups, and I don't know. I just don't see a way really how the Bills can really win this game, which is kind of crazy to say. Um, and then moving on to this game, the Patriots and the Chargers. This is listen. If you've known me for the last 10 weeks of this regular season, I have been the biggest, probably the one of the biggest Patriot haters. And I will completely admit that. Like I have been against the Patriots in a lot of games here. So I believe in this game, I think the Chargers match up pretty well with the Patriots. Now, there's a lot of question marks here. I know you said earlier, actually before this even started, you told me that, some of the Patriots fans are a little anxious. Like, Chargers are not that bad of a team. And I think this entire game relies on Justin Herbert. um, what's up with Justin Herbert? What kind of Justin Herbert we're gonna get, right? I think a lot of years, he's actually played pretty well in playoff games. In my opinion, it's just the fact of the stats. People look at the stats and they're like, oh, he threw for 2 or 3 interceptions. It's like some of those weren't even his fault. I think he played relatively well outside of the. There's like last year against the Texans where I forgot, I think it was a tight end or like the backup tight end or
Yeah,
something.
I
Just
think there was two
absolutely
of them that
dropped the ball.
really,
Yeah,
yeah.
dropped the ball like into the defender's hands. He took it for a touchdown. It's like that's not on Justin Herbert. The only thing about the Chargers is that offensive line. I know I didn't give a pick yet, but that offensive line has given up about, I think, 40% of his dropbacks, not under pressure, are all from him getting sacked. Like 40% of his dropbacks are sacks, and it's not too much pressure going down there. I would recommend the Chargers looking at Lad McConkey this entire game. I think McConkey in this game is going to be the difference. I think you're probably going to have Gonzo probably shadowing either Keenan Allen in the experience department or even a guy like Quentin Johnston. If you want to limit the deep ball, I think you could put Gonzo on Allen, and if you want to minimize that space there, I know that D tackle you're getting back from the Eagles, is it Milton Williams there?
Hmm.
Uh, I know he's coming back, so you guys got some reinforcements there. So it will be interesting to see how you guys kind of operate in the trenches there on the defensive end. The Chargers defense against your offense, that's a matchup that we have not seen. Um, the Patriots have any problems the last couple of weeks with defenses. We've seen the Patriots versus the Dolphins defense. That was Swiss cheese. We've seen the Jets Swiss cheese pretty much without their starting guys. We've seen a lot of them having a lot of success. Now, it's very important, in my opinion, for the Patriots to get a fast run right from the jump, just to shake off the cobwebs. I think if the Patriots come out and they punt on their first drive, I think there's just gonna be a lot of like anxious, kind of nervous fans, and I think that Drake May's first playoff, like this is Drake May's first playoff game, and you guys, like you said, you haven't won a playoff game in a while. I think this is a very interesting matchup, and that's why I'm going to take the Chargers. I'm going to take the Chargers here. I think they match up well. I think Justin Herbert knows what. I mean, it's not like the Chargers have a freaking home field. I mean, let's be for real. Everybody knows that's owned by the Rams, and it's not like LA sports fans compared to the other do or die, relatively new fans of the area of the Chargers and the Rams. But the Rams already won a Super Bowl. I don't think they have home field advantage. I think even like the Patriots fans might even sell out LA more than more than the Rams or anything. But I'm gonna take the Chargers here. I just think they match up well against you guys, and I think that's the difference. Listen, you could say the record is the record. They play the teams in front of them, all this and all that. The record's inflated. It is absolutely inflated. Have not been a believer in the Patriots. I believe that reality kicks in here, and I really do think that the Chargers really do handle business, and I think they take care of it. Now, if I'm wrong here and the Patriots win, would I be shocked? No, because Drake May is Drake May. I mean, he's an amazing quarterback. Like let's get that first and foremost like right down pat. I just don't know how he's going to be in the playoffs against the team that deserves to be here too. Like the Chargers are not no slump or slouch or anything like that. Like the Chargers are a good team, right? And Jim Harbaugh in that offense, given Justin Herbert, like I know that the injuries on the tackles kind of hurt them a little bit, but if the run game gets going with Amari and Hampton and Vidal and Lad McConkey gets open in the slot and stuff, I think that you can't put Gonzo on Lad. It's just not going to help. It's just not how uh, outside boundary corners line up in the slot there. So I think Lad's probably going to have a great day. I think, however, I saw a stat that the Chargers were second in the league against wide receivers, matched up wise. However, they were not good with tight ends coming into this game. So look for Hunter Henry to have a big game here. I think Hunter Henry's always been like that safety outlet for Drake May anyway. So you could kind of look for that guy to drop a nice consistent 60, 70 yards. No pun intended there. But for sure, I think you have to look at that as like his safety net. I know I'm kind of going a little bit into this game even more and more and more and kind of getting off what this is. I think the Chargers have a lot to prove here. I think Jim Harbaugh, very good coach, which is not to say Vrabel is not. I'm just saying Jim Harbaugh is another experienced head coach. Sticks to his roots. We don't know how Drake May is going to look. There's a lot of question marks for New England. In my opinion, I'm going to take the Chargers. I feel like they're like it's more of a safer pick outside of what we've seen out of this year for the Patriots. But I am going to go with the Chargers just because I feel like I know what I'm getting from the Chargers. I do not know what I'm getting from the Patriots. And if they want me to pick them in the next round and they win this game, I want them to prove it in this game.
Okay. So yeah, I guess we can pause there and give you a bit of a break. Um, so so very good analysis, not just on that game, but on all the games in general. So I can tell you right off the bat, our brackets are going to be pretty different. So I'll start on the AFC. So obviously the Broncos are the bye; they don't have to play. Steelers, Texans. Yeah, like most people are kind of just picking the Texans without hesitation. I would be. Well, I don't know what the over under is for this game, but I'm assuming it's going to be very low. It's probably going to be the under. Has defensive game, punt position, punt bowl written all over it. That game very well could go either way. Yeah, Jags Bills. Yeah, like you said, a lot of people are just picking the Bills. The Jags, that's even if they win, that's a bad draw for that. I mean the AFC both teams, like even the Packers is a 7 seed. They're better than a typical 7 seed. Same with the Chargers. The Chargers could have been the 1 seed as of 2 weeks ago. So the Jags to get the Bills in the wild card, that's a tough draw for them because I mean the Bills went 12-5 in the 6 seed, so that's not going to be an easy game either. That could go either way. And then Pats Chargers, yeah, that game, it's interesting because you said that the Chargers match up well with us. It feels like both fan bases feel the same way. It feels like Patriots fans think we match up well with the Chargers, and Chargers fans think we match up well with the Patriots. Now, I see a lot of Chargers fans saying they match up well with us primarily because we have a lacking pass rush, and obviously the Chargers glaring flaws. Their offensive line has been a complete disaster for most of the season, especially
Yes.
as of late. I mean, they had to rest Justin Herbert, one of the toughest guys, because that's how bad their offensive line has been. But I know this might be cliche, but the Chargers are obviously from LA. They're going into the cold in New England. It actually is going to be in like the 30s. So I mean, that's warm for us in New England here, especially in January. But they're not going to be used to the cold. Obviously, we are playing in New England. So I think obviously, and just take that away. Obviously, Sunday Night Football in Gillette, haven't won a playoff game since we beat the Rams in Super Bowl 53. I expect the crowd to be even more electric than normal. So obviously, home field, I think, is going to be even more of a boost for us. I think I agree with what you said earlier, how you said it's important for us, when I say us, I mean the Patriots, to get off to a fast start in the game. If we, and I do think that we might be like kind of anxious, a bit nervous, especially maybe May. I mean, May obviously is a stud. I think he should win MVP. I don't think he's going to, unfortunately, but I think he should win MVP over Stafford. I have noticed in kind of some like big game, big time drives, he may sometimes he's like a bit off target. So I don't know if that's nerves or it just happens to be in those games. Obviously, the playoffs are a different breed. Making his first playoff start, I know technically every game's like prime time, but a night prime time game, maybe you can argue we're gonna get off to a shady start. The Chargers defense is something else. They're playing very well. Even a lot of their games, because of how bad their line has been, the defense, like that Philly game a couple weeks ago, the defense like basically single-handedly won them that game. So schematically, the Chargers defense could very well be the reason they win the game. And I also agree that, I mean, the narrative around Herbert you were talking about is that he can't win in the playoffs. He's only had 2 games, and the first one was not really on him. I think he was without Keenan Allen in that game, and that was Brandon Staley just completely blowing it to the Jaguars. And then last year was just a disaster. I mean, he had if you just look at the stat line, he didn't play good, but the stats he suggests he played worse than he did. I think you mentioned 2 of the picks weren't even really on him. It bounced right off his guys' hands. I think Herbert honestly is going to play well in this game. I don't think he's going to like completely shit the bed stats wise. Like if they lose this game, I don't think it's going to be because of Herbert. I think there's going to be for both teams like a good mix of offense, defense. I think this will be a good, not a shootout, but I think this, regardless of which team wins, it's going to be like in the 20s for each team scoring. So I'll save all my picks, but that game can very well go either way. The only game I honestly, out of the wild card games, feel like I'm pretty definitive that one team's going to win is the Rams. Yes, as you were talking about, the Panthers beat them earlier in the regular season, and not to discredit them, but Stafford had a very out of characteristic game. He had 2 turnovers. I think both of them were in the red zone, or at least one of them was. Bryce Young looked like Tom Brady in that game. He could not be stopped. Now, I don't think, and they only won the game by 3. So with the Rams playing that sloppy and still nearly losing, playoffs are a different breed. And they're getting Vontae back this game too. I have a tough time seeing the Panthers win the game. If they do win, I think it's going to have to be a similar formula. But if the Panthers somehow win, that's going to ruin, I think, everyone's bracket right away. Because most people are picking the Rams to go pretty far and especially at least win this game. The Eagles 49ers, it's very interesting because, like you said, the big question with Philly is, especially offensively, how are they going to look? Because the offense all year with Patullo has not looked good for the most part. But the 49ers defense, mainly due to injuries, has just been awful lately. I know they only allowed 13 to Seattle, but the Seahawks were going up and down the field like very methodically. They played well enough to score like in the 20s, I feel like. And the Eagles' defense is unreal. And we just saw what Seattle's defense did to the 49ers. 49ers are banged up offensively, too. I think they're getting Trent Williams back this game. I don't think they're getting Pearsall. So going on the road in Philly against that defense, Philly could win the game alone from their defense. And even though their offense, I think Robert Saleh versus Kevin Patullo, I think the clear advantage schematically is with Saleh. But obviously, Patullo, that's going to even out with the Niners' injuries and the talent difference offensively. So, and specifically, the Niners have been awful stopping the run. And obviously, you have Saquon, so that could be a problem for the Niners. The Niners very well could win, but I think the Eagles have a lot more ways to win that game. And then Bears Packers. The Packers are actually, I didn't check today, but as of yesterday, they were actually favored. So I'm a bit surprised that because when the lines first opened, I think they were favored, and then very quickly swung in Chicago's favor, and now it's back in the Packers' favor. As you mentioned, the first game, the Packers like thoroughly outplayed them. I know it was close, but they outplayed them that game. They deserved to win. The second game was the same thing. They just blew it at the end. And that Jordan Love got hurt in that game. Malik Willis was great, but if Dobbs just catches the onside kick, the Packers probably win that game and they sweep the Bears. So we have evidence, not even once, twice, that Green Bay matches up with the Bears pretty well. And the Bears, a question with them is, it's kind of the same thing with Denver. the Bears have won a lot of games this season, just kind of pulling it out of their ass at the end. They have like the most wins or tied for the most wins. I think it's like six in NFL history when they're like trailing at the 2 minute warning. They get very timely turnovers with their defense. Is that formula going to be able to carry into the playoffs against the elite teams in the league? Now, they've done it against some of the elite teams, but are they going to be able to consistently pull it off? Is the question with them. And they are getting Rome Dunze back. I think they just announced. So obviously, that's going to be a bit of a boost for them offensively. That game can go either way. So yeah, the only game I'm pretty confident in is the Rams Panthers. Spoiler alert for my picks, but the rest of them can go either way. But looks like if this is what happens, this will be pretty interesting divisional round.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen this entire year be insane. I mean, we have had teams like the Browns beat the Packers. If you look at all the divisional underdogs that have won over the last couple primetime games that we've seen, like mid-season, like there was a long, long time that like all these primetime divisional games were one score game wins or like ended in dramatic fashion. Even like the Ravens and Steelers last week, like that's another underdog win for the Steelers to win that. Like I think a lot of Steelers fans were like, oh, well, let's look for a new head coach already. And then now it's like, whoa, wait, we just made the playoffs. We have a favorable, we could win this game and move on. However, just to continue off with the my Super Bowl prediction here. I'll go back to the NFC here. So the Seahawks and the Packers. What an absolute dogfight. This is another like you want to talk about a war? Like this is another war. Like we have the Seahawks, home, of course, 12th man against the Packers. Um, I think that in this game, the highlight of this game will be how does Sam Darnold look? How is Sam Darnold gonna look? What is Sam Darnold like? That's what everyone's gonna want to seem like, and I think this is gonna be a little bit of how last year was with him on the Vikings. I am not confident, and this is gonna be nuts because it, I just I think he's going to rise up to the occasion, and I think we're gonna see the Packers get a little banged up in that Bears game. I'm not predicting injuries, but I think that there's gonna be a lot of momentum that the Packers are gonna go into this game with. Um, I think that they're going to start pretty decent, like 3-0. I think the Seahawks are going to take control. I think they're going to pick up in the second half. I think the Seahawks do win this game, which is so hard to pick because I could easily see it being the Packers winning this game. Like easily. I could be like, all right, I think the Packers are going to win this game. Josh Jacobs is back, like whatever. Rumors are coming out that, oh, this is the best that Josh Jacobs has ever felt in the last couple weeks. I don't think that's true. But you know what? Whatever to get the momentum going, whatever gets the run game going. Maybe that the Packers have a decent chance against the Bears in the passing game they see. So maybe they find holes with that and they're just prepared to run heavy, run heavy, run heavy projection for the Bears game. But in this game, I'm actually going to take the Sam Darnold getting over the hump here. I think that he could win, and I think that the Seahawks beat the Packers. I think this is like an end of the field goal kind of win. Like this is going to be a weird one. I think we're going to look either a 6 point win, 3 point win, one of those. I'm going to take the Seahawks 24, Packers 21. Um, and then with this Eagles Rams game, what a weird game this is because the Rams lost earlier in the year to the Eagles on a blocked field goal. So, I mean, I think the Rams were really going to win that entire game. And in the playoffs, I am going to take the MVP, in my opinion, different from a lot of people. I'm going to take the MVP. I'm going to take the more
Jalen
healthier
Hurts.
team. Yep. Yeah. I'm going to take the Rams. I think
Sure.
the Rams are going to come in with a better, do you want to talk about momentum? Better coach, better offense, better average defense. I would say about average defense, and that's all you need really against the offense who has been struggling recently. So I'm going to take the Rams here, and we're going to have a divisional matchup going into the Super Bowl for the NFC. Um, talk about divisional matchups. We have the Broncos and the Chargers. Now we've seen time and time and time again of divisional winners going in underdogs and winning. I think that there's gonna be a lot of people. This might not even be the matchup. Maybe the Patriots win. Maybe the Bills win, right? Maybe one of these teams win. I think that if the Chargers win against the Patriots and they verse the Broncos, I still do believe the Broncos do win. It's gonna be one of those little Chief victory wins. I could guarantee it's gonna be something like that. It is very weird not to see the Chiefs in here, as weird as that sounds, but I am gonna
Totally.
say that the Broncos do take this down here. Um, I think I don't know. That's just what I think. That can go either way. I mean, I think if the Bills beat the Jags and the Bills versus the Broncos, I think the Bills win. But it's such a close freaking game in there. Um, yeah, it's so weird because like you have one team in this, if they win, then I believe that they'll lose. But if the other team that I think loses in the first round wins, I think they win the next round. So it's like it's such a weird dynamic this year about these playoff runs. Um, but again, going down to the Jags and the Steelers. Again, don't know if this is going to be the matchup, but I think this is where the Tomlin road ends here. I got to take the Jags. I don't think that there's a I really don't think that there's that they're not that bad of a team at all. Give me the Jags. I'm rolling with the Duval here. And I think that we see the Jags in the AFC Championship game for the first time in I think it's like since 2018, since that Jalen Ramsey year. Um, and we'll get to see that. Um, and then I will make the last pick here. I see we only have a little bit left here, but I will make the last two picks here for the Seahawks and the Rams. Um, listen, another weird game, another weird game, divisional game, getting into the Super Bowl. But again, I'm going to take the MVP. I'm going to take the best team, in my opinion, in the league right now. As they haven't played the best, but they played some of the best competition in the NFL. I'm going to take the Rams here. I think that the Rams really do make a little bit of a statement here. They beat Sam Darnold. I'm trusting that offense a little bit better. Give me the Rams here on the road in Seattle. And then we have Broncos Jags again. So, oh boy. Um, just another brutal game. Like this game would, in my opinion, this you could go either way here. Um, this is such a hard game to predict. But give me the Jags. I don't care. I mean, this is the weirdest Super Bowl you might ever see in your life. But this is what the NFL season's been about this entire year. Give me the Jaguars and the Rams in the first freaking Super Bowl that looks like this. I mean, a 3 seed and a 5 seed. I mean, um, I'm and my Super Bowl winner in this scenario, it's gonna be the Rams. I'm gonna ride the Rams all the way until the end of the year here. I think it's something along the lines of like a 35 to 27 victory here. I love the Rams taking it to the Super Bowl, winning again. Sean McVay walks into the sunset. Stafford walks away with his MVP and a Super Bowl ring. And I think we see that um, again. And who knows what's going to happen after the year if Stafford decides to hang it up or if he decides to keep going for another couple of years. Like I don't know what his timeline looks like. But if you end a season like this, um, I think you have to consider retirement. But he's if you're the MVP, there's really sometimes no reason to retire because if you played that well and that elite, who knows what your next contract's going to look like? Especially when you play with Sean McVay, like you like where you're at. You're in LA. I mean, you're in LA. You're in a beautiful spot, playing with some of the best players in the league with Devontae and Puka, Kyron and Blake Corum, another bright spark plug there for you guys in LA there. Give me the Rams.
Yeah. So yeah, as you mentioned, we're about to get cut off here. So
Mhm.
If you want to end this here, and I'll just boot another one up so the timer resets. That's good with you.
Yeah,
Okay,
sounds good. Yep,
perfect.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'll obviously keep this saved, and then when I boot the other one up, we can break the rest of this down. But I'm going to end this part here, so be on the lookout for the next part, everyone. If I can find the stop record. There we go. There it is.